Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you a crazy story as I have in fact broken my nose again. Yes, you heard that right, again. This is the story that I've not shared because obviously it's a recent episode. I actually broke my nose again on Friday evening, and of course I want to tell you all about it, but more importantly, the takeaway lessons from, I'll say, my failure. Although I don't really like that word, but I could have avoided this accident. So get comfortable and let's get started. So I know what you're thinking the first time. Yes, unfortunately, I broke my nose skiing, and it was in 2018. So I was going down a blue run through a wooded area into lunch. Now, I'd already done a black run. I wasn't sort of on a difficult run as such, but it was a kind of a bumpy one through the woods. And as I was coming near at the end, I caught the end of my ski pole and hit it straight into the side of my nose. I know what you're thinking, ouchie, right? Obviously, it was like, oh my God, what's happening? Because blood was suddenly pouring out of my face. So if you're somebody who's broken their nose before, you know it can just bleed and bleed and bleed. But it wasn't too painful. It's just the fact it just wouldn't stop bleeding, right? And of course, I knew that wasn't a good thing because, that much blood not stopping is a problem. So went to the hospital, got my nose glued, and of course flew home the next day. So that was the end of the holiday. Luckily, it was right at the end and it was all good. But it wasn't over there. In fact, obviously, as my nose healed, I had surgery in 2001. And I have mentioned this before because obviously a surgery can be quite a big thing. But I had a deviated septum and restricted breathing. So with that restricted breathing, they did a septorhinoplasty, so they straightened up my septum, but they also slimmed down because what it had done is started pushing against the skin on the bridge of my nose, and you could start to see the bones sort of protruding against the skin. So when they did the surgery to repair it, they realigned it and then, of course, trimmed it down. So it did a really, really good job. But of course, I broke it again. So if anyone knows me, you probably know, and you can see I'm not fully smiling because my face isn't kind of working. So I'm very, very lucky. Okay. So what happened on Friday? So basically I was at the end of a yoga class and I was demonstrating a transition from headstand into crow. Now, both ones I can do very comfortably and I will demo both of them, but I'm not going to do that transition again in a hurry. Okay. But what happened is as I was transitioning, I fell straight onto my face. There was a crack, obviously it bled a bit. And of course, I went straight down to the A&E. So I'm awaiting a follow-up with the ENT clinic just to check it's all okay. However, I am counting my blessings because my nose still looks good. I can still breathe. I just obviously can't fully smile. I've got a little bit of numbness. The nerves have been impacted. And of course, I can't raise my eyebrows and things like this. So I do look a bit more straight-faced than I normally do. So I do apologize. But of course, it's not because I don't want to smile. It's because I actually can't. So there are things like I'm sleeping on my back, obviously ibuprofen, some paracetamol, a little bit, it's just to help. But again, it's not too painful. In fact, surgery was actually more painful than actually it has been to break it on either occasion. Okay. But remember, I said this accident could have been avoided, right? So what could I have done differently? And this is why I say that. Okay. Now, I'm not dipping into victim mindset and taking blame. I'm just recognizing the fact that actually, if I could go back and do it differently, I could have avoided that accident. Okay. And that's the way we need to look at things rather than going, woe is me, what's happened, and blaming ourselves and shifting into this negative or victim mindset. We can look at it as a lesson learned. And I want to share with you my lessons. Okay. So firstly, I was tired. Okay. So like I said, it was Friday evening. I say 8:10 in the evening. I'd just been teaching 2 classes, but also I'm in the process of buying a new car. So Thursday and Friday, I was all sorting all this out. Obviously that causes a little stress in our lives. Thursday, I didn't sleep so well. I was awake early. And of course I woke up with a headache and things like this. So I wasn't feeling the greatest. I was overtired. Okay. Now, one bad night's sleep can actually increase your rate of accidents. So if you're getting less than 6 hours, you can actually increase it by up to 75%. If you get 3 nights bad sleep, then 75% higher risk is there. Okay, so naturally our bodies are at higher risk. So when you're feeling tired, pushing your body is never a good idea. Okay, what did I do? Secondly, although I have done this transition so many times, in fact, in 2018, when my instructor taught it to me, I loved it. Okay, and it was one of my favorites and always has been. Okay, but I haven't included it as part of my transitioning very much since my nose surgery. Okay, now, although I've done crow and I have done it since, what I was in my conditioning, my technique was slightly off. Okay, so rather than rolling onto my forehead, I kind of bounced. Yeah, it's not a smart move. Again, I was tired. I wasn't thinking properly. Okay, and all this. But the final point is to recognize that I have a weak point. So once you break something or injure part of your body, it's not saying it doesn't heal, but it's always going to have a weaker element. Now, I broke my nose. Then when I had surgery, they re-broke it and realigned it. So I've got a really weak point in my nose. And of course, for me to hit on it, it doesn't surprise me that I heard a crack. Okay, so that's not really, So basically, when I thought, like we've all done at some point, I can do this, I know how to do this, I've done this before, and chosen to ignore signs that are going on in our bodies. So things like the fact I was sort of bouncing, I wasn't controlling, I was trying to use a bit more my strength. And again, my strength wasn't quite there because I was tired. So I fell misaligned onto the weakest point of my body and smacked my nose on the floor. Okay, so I made a mistake. Okay, but instead of playing victim, I'm owning it and of course living with it. And of course, my videos for a little while, I'm not going to be as smiley as usual, but this is obviously the reasons why. So if you can relate to this, or you'd like more stories about where I've made mistakes, because nobody's perfect, it's about being human and being real, then of course I would love to hear from you in the comments below. So of course, don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course, let me know what you'd like. More stories, more meditations, and what other fun videos. Otherwise, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.